So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Anka and Dave Stevens went to this event, AI and Wellness.
AI
And
wellness. Like they literally snapped together the most buzzworthy
for
words
those of you
in
that
the
don't know what we're talking
universe,
about, Anka
put an
and
event around
Dave.
it that was mostly generated by ChatGPT.
So, but then there's some sort of like crazy thing happening where there's good
Yeah,
guys and
they're
bad
like the
guys now.
founder. So, okay, so that was like some points that we made, right? It's like, how many times do you go to an event that you're invited to be part of as a sponsor partner? Like, we're not just talking about attending, because if you're attending, probably you're not going to go and Google the founders history. Are they legit? Are they like scammers? Who are these people, right? But we're talking about if you're involved in a partnership sponsorship kind of activity, do you go and do that type of like deep dive research on who those people might be, right? I mean, I didn't go to Reddit to Google her up, right? I mean, I just looked her up online. I'm like, oh, she seems legit. She's associated with this and this and this. But apparently, there's this uncovering of all these lawsuits. If you go into the New York and California and a bunch of other states, court documents, there is a lot of documents associated with her, and her name change. She's even changed her name. So she's like, she wouldn't, like, she scraped her identity with a new name online. So you wouldn't find anything that would point to those historical spammy activities that apparently she's been involved with. So anyway, there's this whole thing that's coming out of it. So we went live yesterday because we were hit with this one email 5 a.m. in the morning on Monday about this whistleblower from inside the organization that was making all these allegations and sending like links. I mean, this is like links to all of those places. And I'm like, what is going on, right? So then I talked to a few partners that actually put money into being there, to sponsor the event, to be part of the event. And I'm like, so how do you guys feel about it? So yeah, it was this whole thing. So it's on LinkedIn if you guys want to go back and need some drama in your life. Feel free
So
to.
I bring this up because the event was an AI and wellness event, and the majority of the communications were 100% AI generated. They
100%.
didn't even remove the emojis, and
No,
there was no
it
real
wasn't so
history.
much the emoji. It was like literally the prompt. Like you're using the prompt and the emojis and you're sending a copy and paste. Like, when you do something on ChatGPT and at the bottom it says, would you like me to rephrase
Yeah,
it? Or you're like, it's like totally like sent like that. I'm like, who does that?
that's incredible. So the hazards of AI, and as we're using AI, let's maybe put some human touch on top of the AI is
Or just some
really
supervision. I mean,
some
just common
supervision.
sense, right? Anyway, it was
Exactly.
fun.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, hello and welcome everybody to the AI Hackathon planning meeting for August 20th. We are now on week 3. So to recap what we've done the first couple of weeks, week number 1, we figured out what our work streams were going to be, identified the challenges that our work streams could take on that AI could help assist with. Week 2, we started looking at all of the tools that might exist to solve those challenges. So now here in week 3, we're talking through the tools that you have identified that you would like to use. We'd like to put some budget around it and see if they're free or if it could be different if we put some money behind it. So I would love to go through the work streams and find out where we stand. Let me start with branding and messaging because this is going to be the face of our event. So, branding team, what you
Hello,
got?
I'm here. We have done a lot this week. The team has put together, I put in our channel some brand guidelines and a messaging brief that Megan and Heidi worked on together. So Megan kind of put together the tagline, value props, key messaging, and then Heidi worked on the logo files and the brand assets. So I can share my screen really quick so
Let's
you guys
do
can
it.
see everything. So this is our cute little robot guy. And there is a file in here for you guys that is like an AI SVG file because we did run into a couple of issues with some of the AI stuff where it generated an image, but it's not like an editable image that we could then use. So what Heidi did was she took the concept and then she went back and like made it all into a format that actually is like editable and usable by other design
Yeah,
mediums.
because luckily
So
Heidi's also a graphic designer, so that's helpful.
yes, it was very helpful. Yeah, so unfortunately it was like AI couldn't do the whole thing, but it came up with like the initial concept for us that we used for this one. And then I'm getting exact details from her, but she's gonna make a template that looks sort of like this that we can post, and it'll be like humans behind the events that we can all, I think we all talked about making a LinkedIn post that talks about our
Yeah.
with it. So we'll get this finalized and that way everybody can post. And then for the branding, let me just show you
And
guys.
hey, I want to connect you with the folks at Glean In because, they can also, I don't know that the tool itself has AI in it from the like community platform marketing where we can all share that we're a part of it, but I know that they're working on a new like video capture type thing that is AI infused. So let me connect you with them so you can figure out if that will help with marketing too.
Yeah, that would be awesome. On the like brand identity front, if you guys want the colors that we use, the fonts, the design elements, the tone of voice, taglines, all of it is in this brand like messaging brief document. So there should be lots of stuff you guys can work on there, especially for like the content teams and other folks that will have to put together the production as well. And then the last thing I wanted to show was I put this in the Canvas, but then I realized that it's probably better to put it in a Word doc so we can all collaborate. I see like Dax has already put in some comments on here, but these were the event goals, which will obviously be important when we come to the measurement front and talk about how we do that. So not sure if we want to walk through these, but I think everyone can like take a look at comments. Feel free to change anything here or make them better or worse. These are definitely coming from AI, so I think that they could be refined a bit.
Okay, perfect. So are there any in particular that you want us to take a look at right now while we're all together?
I think the only one that I think was really rogue or sort of not rogue, but that I put in here, which I don't think we ever decided on, was if we want to have some kind of charitable impact or if we want to do something where it's like pay for the event, pay what you can basically towards a charity. Not sure if we still want to go forward with that, but I think it's a really good idea. It brings just a little something extra for people to want to participate. But that would be the only one that I feel like is like uh controversial, I guess, or people might have
Okay.
opinions on.
I think on the budget front, let's find out what we hear from everyone on what we need to actually execute these things. So, do you have any of the tools you're working on that need money?
Yes. So we had Natasha might oh, I think Natasha's not on this call today, but on the attendee experience front, we're collaborating with her for the website structure. And they mentioned that they're using Replit for
Hmm.
building out the site. And we may need some funds there for building out like the vibe coding for the reg site.
Okay.
And then who else said that they needed? There was one other person and I can't remember who mentioned needing some funds. I think it was Allison. Potentially for like an event tech piece of it. So I'll get back to you on what those specifics are.
Okay, so I will go back into our spreadsheet that's on the drive and just add a budget tab, and then we can load those in. So I'll give everybody a section. You can tell me what you think you need.
Oh, perfect. Yes, we can do that.
Excellent. Thank you.
And then one other piece.
Please.
Um, I had tentatively put our like reg launch day for the 29th. I need to go back to my team and see if that's doable. But the only piece that we're really missing right now is building the like CRM like or the reg page, how we want to capture people. But that's our tentative date right now for launching the registration site.
Fantastic. I love it. Thank you, Dara. Yay. Sarah Beth, let's talk about what's going to be in this event. Content. I know that you're trying and trying and trying to get people to add stuff to your board and they're not. So let's do it now.
Okay, y'all, isn't this so funny? So, the meta experiment that is getting the content on the stage, and how many of us have been in the middle of working an event and you're just trying to get feedback of what the content's going to be, and you hope and hope,
Crickets.
and you get crickets. But it's so funny because event folks are no better. Because I was like, well, I wonder if the event folks will be like, more on, more engaged and more on top of it.
We're the
And
worst. We are literally the worst. We
I
don't
am the
register for
worst.
events until 2 hours before. We're the
Oh my
worst.
God. I'm the worst event attendee in the entire planet, but it's so funny when it comes to the collaboration. So this was really an interesting meta experiment to see like, okay, I'm giving you like 6 different ways to contribute. But still the best way seems to be me jumping in y'all's meetings and making you talk to me. Um,
Humans. Woo.
and I still lack conversations with a couple of the teams, the resource team and the attendee experience team. Y'all, I will be tapping on your doors. There's only so many hours in a day. But I will share my screen and talk about the basic framework that through these conversations we've had, we talk about what we think this event might look like and how we might utilize AI. The other piece that I'd really like to add in would be the piece that I think AI might be able to help us, where I know y'all are in your meetings and I know you're mentioning what you would like to see on the stage. So if we can be really diligent about putting those transcriptions of the meetings into the folders that Liz has already put us, I think that I can tap Notion and Notebook LM, and that might be our AI solution for this situation that we always find ourselves in, which is cross-pollinating through different teams. But in the meantime, let's be humans behind the bots. And I literally just created something super simple because this is how my brain works. So concepts, welcome moments, the pre-show as they gather. So, we've got this system, talk to the production team, we've got this system. So you're basically come into this moment and you have the 3 screens and you have a couple of doors. There's a pre-show moment. So we were wondering if we have a bot, a Hey Jen bot, pre-recorded that has a script that talks about, welcome to blah, blah, blah. And we know everybody's going to get access to this moment as they come in and they can kind of noodle around. So we have a little bot pre-recorded, and I love the idea of taking the graphic that the Dara team, the marketing team has come up with, and that be our little bot. And we just feed it a script, and then it basically will sit there and be cute and be quiet for a while. And, Bob the bot or whatever the heck we end up calling him will be like, welcome to the, brains behind the bots. I'm the bot. Da, 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 da. We'll come up with a script that's cute and adorable. So that would be pre-recorded and hang out just as the intro. Repeats that welcome script. We were wondering if we wanted like an Arthur or a human MC to tag team with the bot. I'm starting to wonder if that might just go back down into show welcome. Again, I'd love feedback there. And we're planning on doing a pre-event chat. So that's when the pre-event survey, Dax and his team could drop that pre-event survey of how do you feel about, things and stuff with AI before we start the event. That's kind of the opportunity to get information and data before we educate anybody. Then we shift into Showtime Welcome. Does the AI bot welcome via a script? And then is there a human backup bot host? Maybe it's an Arthur that is the backup host in case the bot's dumb and scrambles and, whatever. Or we could program the bot to be dumb, whatever we want to do. And then we had a video intro opportunity that we might kind of code into a big commercial, video commercial. More on that here in a minute. And then we're like, okay, we've got 7 teams. How are we going to step and repeat a formula for each team to have a conversation about what we used to make this event about this event? So, bot provides a scripted welcome. So, this team is blah, blah, blah team, and each team, gives the bot the script of whatever it needs to say. Would love a moment if we're all recording our meetings, would love a moment where we have a really short commercial of us playing with AI and coming up, just the little commercial of what our meetings kind of look like. And, oh, I didn't know it could do that. Or, oh, that freaking sucked. Or whatever it might end up being, if the pre-record or a recorded video of all the meetings that we've had for each team. And then maybe each team has a brief presentation using the same presentation, maybe from AI. We feel like it's probably going to have to be pre-recorded, this portion, because there's a lot of teams and not a lot of time. And then the interactive component is the piece. I don't know if it happens after each team, But if it were a perfect world, I would love to have a pre-coded bot that could act as Q&A, but then we have the human backups for when it glitches or doesn't actually answer the question correctly. So if we took all of that information from all of the meetings, kind of like the Notebook LM does, and whatever miracle needs to occur to make that happen, that'd be super cool. So then we have a Q&A section, and maybe it's after each team presents and it's just at the very end, but then we have a Q&A where the audience has the opportunity to have conversation about, okay, what was your experience with this, blah, blah, blah. The bot has the opportunity to answer, because I know, hey, Jen, you can do that. And then the team is also on board to be like, well, actually, Bob is totally wrong. This is what we actually think, or whatever the case may be. And then other interesting transitions between teams that we can come up with, like cute things, like a create your own bot moment, or I don't know, a comedy standoff between bot and comedian, or, fill in the blank, whatever fun little transition between teams that we could come up with that's AI generated, kind of making it more interactive.
And did Arthur show you the photosphere and then the AI photo thing? Because maybe that's an interstitial type moment.
Yep. And the real kicker is we kind of mathed this. This piece right here should probably only take 6 minutes per team. So that's wham bam, thank you, ma'am. So we need to think about what opportunities in the transitions between we might have. And then conclusion, drop a link to the resource guide, or does the resource guide live in resource land on the system itself? Oh, and I forgot to mention, thought about having a suggested song, like a theme song creation during like as everybody's gathering. So then maybe we lead out with the group, the song actually playing. The bot gives us a conclusion of what everybody said. And then we post the post event survey in the chat. So yeah, that's the basic framework. Dax, I see a question.
Cool, thank you. A few comments. One is just a measurement one, which is I would love to do the pre-show survey during registration, actually, rather than at the onset of the event. And part of that is because we can then look at the results of that pre-survey and it may impact what we decide to do in the event. So if we are going to try to go for like a 29th date of reg go live, then I just need to know that, and we'll make sure to get the right questions into that registration process whenever that deadline might be. Now, in terms of the content, I was just thinking about this because I had just been through the goals and objectives document and put in a number of comments and thoughts about what are we trying to achieve. And one of the big ones is actionable knowledge people can take back to work with them. And so I just want to make sure that our content will deliver that. And so it's just really thinking about what does that mean from an actionable knowledge. So for example, if we have these team presentations as you're showing here, do we need to make sure that there's like actionable takeaways? Here's what you should do. Do we need to have any kind of a hands-on, quote unquote, learning moment where people can try to apply what they've learned during the hackathon that they would then take back with them? So I just was thinking, I want to make sure like we have aligned the content strategy to the goals and objectives. We haven't even aligned on the goals and objectives, so I think we have to do that first and then make sure the content strategy reflects that. And then the final comment, and then I'll shut up, is I wonder if it's too AI. And I think there is a philosophical question here around, do we have a belief about what makes for an impactful event and where the humans and the AIs interact versus not, and who takes the lead? Because it's funny, you have like AI answers questions with humans as a backup. And I don't know. I mean, I just don't know if that's our philosophy. And I wonder if we need to have that general philosophy as we craft this experience. So those are my thoughts as I was listening to you.
I love it, Dex. Thank you. What do you all think? Is it too AI?
I mean, we didn't set to plan an event. We set to plan an event that is planned by AI. So, to me, I don't think it's to AI. I mean, the purpose is to showcase either the good or the bad or the ugly of what that looks like. We're trying to
But
make a
sorry to
point.
interrupt, Anka, but that isn't the purpose, not at least as we've defined it in the goals. So if the goal is to showcase the good, bad, and ugly of AI, then that needs to be in our goal document, and we
Well,
need to
maybe
then
we need
build
to
in.
revise it, right? And we need to look
Yeah,
at it and be
we
like,
need
so
to look
what
at it.
exactly are we trying to do? Are we just trying to plan an event? Because we're fully capable to do that with or without AI.
But this is why it's so critical that everyone does visit that goals document, because everything else has to be based on that. We have to be aligned on what the goals are. Because as I've said, that's not what my understanding of the goal was. So we need to make sure we agree on those
Right.
goals.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Sarah's trying to get us to like read those papers. And I'm guilty of like having super busy just in the last week alone and not having had time. Like I know I am. I know we all are, right? So, but you're right. Like we first have to, before we even, start creating content, putting together agendas, like figure out, is this exactly what we all want to accomplish?
And two, I've heard it multiple times just because was put into the meetings. There's concerns about being able to execute at a high level with a timeline that we've put on ourselves. So do we feel like, and I agree, it's all moving at the same time, right? So it's hard for the teams to advance without the foundational pieces. So do we feel like the end of September is a reasonable goal? Even with these content pieces in place, I'm feeling the need to tap some expert opinions like in video and things like that. And that's going to take me, at least a week or so before I can get that in place. So yeah, that's another question too.
So I would say, I know Dax, you want to send out the survey as part of registration. I would love for us to pre-survey people now. So if we can start getting some questions out there, at least in the Slack channel, and getting Club Ichi engaged and involved in what they would want to see in this, then I think we can give them a week to turn that around and have a really solid North Star, and then
Yeah.
continue the questions in the Reg platform.
Fine, I agree. So give me a date when you want the questions, and I will work with AI and come up with some questions that we could ask in the Slack.
Do you think we could do it on Friday?
Yes, I do think that's possible. That's
I
fine.
think that would be amazing. And so then just to revisit the intent of the event, the unique value prop being the first event where AI planned the event and the humans are ready to spill the tea. So obviously AI is not planning the whole event, but what we could do is take the original prompt that was used and share, this is what AI suggested we do. We ignored it and we did surveys of our people. And this is what AI suggested we do after we loaded their responses into AI. And this is what we're actually doing. And so planned by AI and then adjusted by humans. And then I do love the idea of the AI bots answering questions. I just don't know that that needs to be after every single segment. I think if we're playing with this technology, we pick one segment where we put the AI creature in there and it's doing the Q&A along with the human. And then maybe there's something different for another section, because I think what we really want is for people to see the opportunities that exist out there and not necessarily make one event that's one way and say this is the way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Q&A section, instead of being after each team, is its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I
And
did.
maybe that's where we bring in, how much I love panel discussions, hate them. But maybe this is the moment where we bring in all of the planning team and have
Right.
the AI be part of the planning team. It's
Right.
just there. And so when people are asking questions, it gets the opportunity to answer questions just like the rest of the planning team.
Yeah. Yep. I'd be curious what miracle needs to occur to make that happen.
Not a clue.
Not a clue. But I may not have mentioned this, but I definitely wanted or thought the idea that each team has an interactive component to their presentation portion. So they might have a narrative and then they have a workshop moment. We also, with the production team, had the conversation of what if the workshop moment is actually in the kind of the trade show portion. When you go into that door, you have a trade show area. is that the opportunity for each one of the teams? Because we can do up to 6 in that area. Is that the opportunity for where we say these are the workshop ideas, these are the thing, this is your assignment, because that has some capabilities in there. We can do a video and a PDF and stuff like that. So is that the opportunity, like, okay, after this, you guys go and experiment with the tools that we used and go in here, as opposed to the 6 minutes that we have up on stage?
That's a great idea.
I think
Listen.
that's I
Go
think that's a
ahead,
great
Michelle.
idea just because everybody learns at different paces. And so if someone was trying to follow along within that 5, 6 minutes, what we were trying to teach them, it might just be might get them frustrated, maybe they're having some technical issues. And so I think that's a great idea. They get to go on their own time and, really engage with those expo halls. And actually we can have up to 2 expo halls with six booths within each space. So really we could have 12 if we wanted to bring in some sponsors. Just wanted to add that.
Oh, that's great, Michelle. Okay. And I like that idea if maybe each team, maybe you do a pre-recorded where you are taking people through, these are the tools we looked at, this is the one we picked, and this is what we did. And that is the one that people can watch on demand, because maybe people don't really care at all about the production one, but they cared about the marketing one. So they're not forced to listen to that whole thing during the hour that they're there, but they can get the snippet of each one from the teams and then some additional content in that hour.
And then the deep dive lives in the expo hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
we're working right now with Peter to see if we can rename some of those names to make it a little bit more cohesive to what we're trying to do. This is just a sandbox, so it's not the actual event. We're just playing with what's possible, what's not. But like even the resource center, right? Like since he only has this 3 opportunities, like what does that look like? Because we'll have to think about like what we want to embed in each one of those places. I was just dropping some images just to see how easy or hard it is to add those and also resize if necessary. But yeah, that's just part of trying to figure out what we got to work with. And then from a production point of view, sorry, Liz, I'm jumping on this, but we're still trying to figure out, okay, so when we're thinking about live streaming, how much production value do we want to add to it? Obviously, there's not a whole lot here, so we'll have to bring it from the outside. May that be a Vimix pre-production that's embedded and sent via a YouTube link into the platform, because that's kind of like what you're getting. Like you're just getting a YouTube embed into the main stage. Let's see, where is the main stage? So whatever the main stage might look like, because there's a few settings, I guess you can have it customized. I mean, not a lot, but yeah. Then we would have to package it then in the production studio that's outside, because there is like no real production studio here, right? Does it have to be Vimix? If so, it might be a little bit of extra cost. Could it be StreamYard? We could do that, but it all goes back to the content. How much content, how many layers, over layers are we trying to add on top to make it engaging, to make it something that people want to watch.
Okay.
And can you go back to the lobby so that everybody can kind of see? And then you had your little avatar up there on that. That's kind of
Yeah,
thought
did
the
it
bot
just
could
stop
live.
playing? I feel like I had it here.
Yeah, it
You
was
did. We
active.
saw it. I
Yeah,
saw
so
it.
that's
Then tell
something that
me.
we're working with them, because it feels like some things
There it
stick and
is.
then they don't. Exactly. So it's like they might appear, but then they're not. And then you're like, okay, so where did it go? Do I have to refresh? Do I have to go to a different page? So it sounds like there's a development team that's working on some of those kinks right now.
Okay. Okay. And then Sarah Beth, when you mentioned the bot in the beginning, this is in addition to having an avatar. So, because Anka, I'm assuming that this video you've got is your AI avatar.
It is my
That's not
AI
you.
from YouTube. So it's a link. Like this is a pretty cool. So Sarah, you're talking about 2 different things. You wanna go on that?
So this would be before everybody gets on stage, and the snippet, because we were going to give them access to this system before we did the actual production. Oh, this piece, this talking head right here could be Bob the Bot or Bobina or whatever. And it has a pre-recorded script. And then these 2 opportunities right here can be sponsorship opportunities. And we've talked to the team about relabeling. So we might relabel Resource Center to something else. We might relabel Expo Hall to, come into our sandbox or whatever the heck, and that's where people can actually play. And then we have an actual expo hall of sponsorship opportunities. But the content will be when we go onto the main stage and into the room, and then that's the live recorded step and repeat formula and everything that we want to do live.
Okay. But when you mentioned putting a bot, is that like a chat bot that would be in there that they can interact with in the lobby?
The lobby doesn't have interactive components on the
Okay.
screen. So the bot itself exists just as a video. Whether or not we can give
So it's
them
not interactive at all. It's
right.
witnessing,
I think,
experiencing.
Sarah, we were talking with Peter about if there's a way to have that side channel, chat with the bot that will be embedded. From my understanding, that's where the iframe was coming in to play and trying to get it in the chat. We don't have this option right now because I think they're working on it. But that's the thing, like going back to the timeline, like Liz, like they're still working on it.
Mhm.
If we don't have it ready to be deployed and even to play with it right now in the sandbox, I mean, we don't have enough runway to do all these things that we want to do.
Okay. Do you want to talk to them about what they're looking at from a timeline
Yeah,
perspective?
I'll connect with Peter because we're meeting with them quite weekly, so we'll get a gauge of what's going on and what's happening. But
Okay.
that's where we're at currently. And cost-wise, what tools we want, we're still working on that. Michelle, do you have a better like gauge on? I don't think we actually sit down to discuss and dive into yet.
We were still discussing about, obviously about like, what other teams we're going to be using for their AI, because we had to incorporate it with the production. But we also talked about what Sarah had mentioned about, maybe we need to put money into having somebody doing the videos for us, compiling all this together, who's a professional who will take this on. And we feel like they would work probably better if they were paid, or, at the timeline that we need them to work at, just because. And so that was one of the conversations we talked about yesterday, was maybe having to hire someone to do all this editing for us so that we could make this timeline.
I mean, in the sense that if we wanted to have snippets of the work that was done with behind the scenes, with a Loom, on working on this and on that vibe code and on that app and whatever, like that takes a lot of editing for it to become this one snippet of like maybe 2-3 minutes highlight. So that's where like I know that we are all fully capable, the ones in production, to do it, but do we have the bandwidth? And if we do incentivize with here's like there's some pay involved with this, maybe we get it on a timeline where it makes sense for us to get it delivered based on where we are.
Okay.
And especially if we want to do the majority of the presentations in pre-recorded format, that way we don't put such a heavy lift on each individual team to record it perfectly. They can, have the oopsies, have whatever and then it gets edited to the appropriate area, as opposed to getting stuck either just on content or just on production. So yeah, tapping a real live event or video production team. And then have them also follow the path of what AI do you want to use? Because a lot of the AI suggestions that I had were around that video production piece, and I didn't want to make an assumption that's what a video production person would want to do.
Right.
Um,
There's probably some of that we can toy with, like Opus, I think is what a lot of people use just to do social clips and things like that. And so that's a relatively inexpensive monthly fee that we could do a little bit so that people on our team could just play with it. And it's okay if it looks terrible. In fact, I think that as we create that separate AI hackathon Instagram account or whatever, that we're putting out the things like, this is what it did straight up. I didn't edit it at all. This is what happens. And then, okay, here's some of the tweaks I had to make. And actually sharing that with just real people like us trying it, I think is worthwhile. And then, yes, we do have access to a video editor who can make things look actually polished and professional.
yeah.
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 I mean,
And
Opus is great for social sharing. The script is a great tool for like also social sharing and editing if you want to bring it in part of one of our tools that we might have to pay for, especially if you want to involve AI to edit some of those things out and all of that. But I think what we're trying to get to for the highlight reels, it really is more of a surgical edit if we are to just really create this editorial output.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just let AI just pick the parts that make sense. And they're like, now this doesn't even matter.
Do we have someone though on the team that could kind of be the producer of that and say what you want in it? Because if we just
I
bring in an editor, they will be like, okay,
Oh, of
there's
course. So we would both collaborate with them. We wouldn't just let them like,
okay.
okay, go
Okay,
run
good.
with it and then figure out. Like, no, we would just definitely want to be like, this is what we want to highlight. But then each team can decide, okay, this was what's worth highlighting out of this
Mhm.
whole mass of like, I don't know, 6 meetings that we recorded and we worked on. This would be important to highlight.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah Beth, so what else do you need from us on the content side of things now that we know what the platform's looking like and its current capabilities? And so I know that you've got like we need to figure out what AI pre-made stuff is necessary.
Mhm.
Is that something that you and Arthur are working on? Do we want to pull in Natasha and the attendee engagement team?
So I feel like all of the teams need to be involved, which is just the nature of the beast with content.
Mhm.
And that is, you know, great. I'm totally love that. So I feel like we're all going to be working in together. One of the great ways for us to collaborate is one on this manual portion of this little Figma that I threw together, but also in your meetings, making sure that if you do talk about content on there, I should be able to scrape that information that you have in your meetings via AI and be able to take that input and put it to, the concept of on stage. I'm just curious about that. I feel like our backup is in these meetings of like, hey, I had a thought, or on the Slack. And if any of you guys have, I would really love to tap a video production expert, live video production expert. I've got several that I could use. But if any of you guys have relationships that you would like to tap, and then maybe we come up with a budget for that. I
And
think
we have someone on staff that can do 2 social media style and 1 long form per week. That's kind of our agreement with them. So if we can leverage him as well.
awesome.
Amazing. Is that it, Sarah Beth? You feel like you got what
Thanks.
you needed?
Did I
Or?
miss anything? I'll add, I definitely want to look at Notion AI and Notebook LM and compare the two because they seem to do pretty similar things. And then HeyGen for sure for the bot creation. I still don't know what miracle needs to occur to make that like interactive. But that is, now that I know that you guys are interested in it, then I can do a little bit more deep dives for
Yeah,
sure.
and again, I wouldn't try to figure out how to do it for every single session and all the things. I think we pick one, it's the group, it becomes part of the team. And even if we fake it, right, and just preload in Q&As, and then we could talk about that. Like we couldn't figure out how to do it. Here's what we did. Let's have some fun with it. Or maybe we can find someone who can help us do it right.
Love that. That's all for me. I'm done.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Anka. So you talked about some of the production stuff. Is there anything else that we need to know about or questions to get answered?
Well, I mean, for us, the most important part is to establish when we're thinking about the programming, the agenda, what we're streaming, pre-show, during the show, right? What are some of the elements that will be us running the event on the production end or AI related, so that we can start making a plan. So far, we were just trying to get on the same page. Like
Mhm.
we met weekly. We're trying to get on the same page. We're trying to see what other teams are doing. So those meetings, weekly meetings, I think they're really important. But I also think more people need to show up
Mhm.
because, like, look at us now, right? Like, it's not enough people to be able to dictate the other decisions that are being made in some of the other cells or whatever
Work
how you want to
streams,
call
yeah.
them. So I think I don't know if we need to ramp up the meetings if we want to meet deadline because we're not going to be able to make enough decisions. And there's also this, I'm getting this feel of like overwhelm of how much information is being shared, but without necessarily like a strong focus.
Mhm.
So like, we all have so many other things on the side. Now, what do I need to keep my attention on to make
Yeah.
sure that we make this happen?
Yeah.
Because if I just have to go through a million of sources, what everybody's sharing, everyone, it kind of goes back to the AI wellness event that we shared about. Like
Mhm.
we're getting these super long emails, detailed, very detailed, with all the things that was going on. But like I did not have enough time in my day to go through all the links because each email had about 50 links that I
Mhm.
needed to navigate through. So I think that's going to be important, and then we'll deploy what we need to deploy. But again, being a little bit focused on what direction we want to go in, and what are some of the things we might have to let go of because we
Yeah.
can't do it all.
Yeah. I mean, I also want to throw out there, like, if we come to the realization that the platform's not going to be where we need it to be, could we build out the platform as the on-demand environment for the AI hackathon where people can go after the live event to deep dive, to workshop, and to do things, and we simply use a Zoom webinar or something like that for the actual event. So like everything's on the table here so that we can make this as useful as we can for everybody. Yeah, Dex.
Speaking of everything being on the table, and what you just said is very interesting. Do we need to have a live event? Because if we're talking about pre-recorded content, I don't mean to go to the basic foundational question. But if we're going to do something live, let's just make sure that there's a reason for it and it's going to be useful for people. Maybe that's where Q&A and stuff comes in, but because otherwise you could build an event AI tool, essentially learning system, where people could view content, they could ask questions of AI in that content. Like, I'm not saying we shouldn't do a live event. I'm just saying it's an interesting question that you just prompted.
I
Yeah.
kind of love that idea too. So we're instead of I love hate it as an event.
I mean, if we said,
That
let's
we're
just say,
creating a sandbox, right?
yeah,
Like a playground.
for sake of argument, let's just say we have two distinct needs. One is something that's going to live on and be a tool, a resource for people to use to learn from. That is in our goals and objectives, by the way, is the sort of longer tail after the event, ongoing learning platform or whatever you want to call it. Fine. So if we started with that and said, let's define what that is and let's build that, and then we launch that with a live event, that might be a very interesting way to turn this around and think about it in a different,
Mhm.
in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're
This
launching the
place will be kind of
playground.
like our resource, like kind of like the resource center where we keep adding to and we keep
Exactly.
yeah, I think that I mean in my mind we were gonna have that kind of resource. I think the question that Liz you raised was, does it have to be on this VS
Mm-hmm.
platform, or can it be like on Circle or somewhere else, like whatever where we want to build it on a separate platform
Well, the
altogether?
reason that, I mean, the platform's a great thing because they are going to be one of our sponsors, right? And so definitely want to give them the opportunity to share. But I also think that when you're working with newer platforms and or platforms that may not come with the bells and whistles, showcasing what you can add in and how you can partner with folks like them to make something work the way that you need it to work. And so I think that having that, and a lot of people use those types of environments. And so showing that it's possible to go beyond while leveraging AI. But then when I think of what a live event is, I hate showing up at a live event and everything was pre-recorded. It makes me
Right.
madder than anything in the
Yeah.
whole wide world. So
Yes.
I love when I come to a live event and you can feel the energy of the live event and the chat is going crazy and the people are excited and you can ask a question that someone saw in the chat and they answered it. And
Right.
like that may just be
And
me.
that's why I would go to a
I
live
love
event,
live.
to this showcase
Mhm.
of what this was, because there were people talking about it and they would
Mhm.
engage and they would answer live, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, like, yeah, you're right. Like, I could watch that on my time, on my treadmill, here and there, everywhere, whenever I get a chance.
Yeah.
Well, and you never know where this is going to go. I mean, I think this will be a great resource, because not everyone's in the Slack, not everyone's in the circle.
Mhm.
This will be a place that, I mean, really, each of you could use it as being a leader in the space for that, and everyone can kind of access it. And if after 3 months we're done having it in this environment, we can move it, and if it takes on momentum, I mean, if there's, 10,000 people still visiting it 2 months from now, we'll want to invest more time in it.
Right.
Well,
Because this is a huge resource. I mean, if you think about it, if I take down I can download the production stuff and load it in my chat. Now I
Mhm.
just got all the brains from us
Mhm.
we create the pieces so they don't have to go through our adventure of this couple months. And
Mhm.
if they don't know how to do it, then that's crazy if you were an event planner and don't grab that resource from us. So I think it's
well,
going to hopefully have a longer leg and a place to have a community.
In the nature of AI, this will never be able to be evergreen. I mean, I feel very hesitant to make recommendations for AI solutions until I've made a decision on what challenges I have. So there's all kinds of cool toys to play with, and those toys are going to completely change.
But it's just like when you write a book about tools and processes and things like that. You have to talk about the theory, the strategy, the concepts, and you can mention the tools, but the tools are the last two chapters that you know have to be updated. So I think when we plan whatever pre-recorded things are going to live in there, and we talk about this is the work stream that we were in charge of, these are the challenges that exist just in the work stream in general. Here's where we identified we could use some augmented intelligence to support this thing. And then these are the tools we looked at. Google it today, or chat GPT it today to find out what's real. Then I think that process allows people to understand how to set it up and in the right frame of mind. Because I do think that a lot of times event professionals are logistics focused. We kind of come in operationally, we come in logistically, and so we immediately jump to, hey, what tools exist? What can this tool do? Rather than starting with strategy and building through. So if we as a team can kind of help them through that journey, then maybe that's the most helpful.
And then we as a team come up with philosophy to how to use the tools.
Right. Yeah. And then it's tool agnostic, because the tools are going to change, to your point. They're going to go out of business, they're going to change, or they're going to take over the world and we won't live anymore, whatever.
Or even to the point where something that we can't do right now because we're limited by whatever reason, it might be totally possible just in a couple of months down the road. So it's like that's happened with the AI agentic code that is just a possible now in ChatGPT. Like I had to redo all my custom GPTs because I'm like, I don't need to do this crazy pull into servers and coding that I was doing just like a year and a half ago. Like all of that is now done through all the integration that are possible. So what we might think now is a limitation, we open the mind for like, hey, this might not even be here as a limitation.
Now that's going to be the fun part when we edit the video together and then we redo the reunion a year from now and then go look at our video and laugh at ourselves at what we were doing a year ago. While we're all just sitting on the beach sipping our Mai Tai.
Sure.
Because the bots are doing all the things.
Because the bots
The
do all the
bots are cross collaboration between teams. Download your brain hole into my brain hole.
Exactly. Okay. Well, I love where this conversation is going. I think we should mull on it a little bit. Dax, I want to get to you in the measurement metric side and find out, have you talked to the production team about what metrics are even possible to get from the tool?
No, I have not. I didn't even think of that as an action, so probably worth doing. If someone can set that up or help me with that, that would be cool. We did have
meet to Dax weekly, so if you want, I can just drop you in one of our upcoming meetings, see if that works for you. I'll send you an invite.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, and then we can have a internal conversation because we're still working on just trying to figure out what we're doing with this thing right now.
Cool. Yep. And like many of you and Anka mentioned, it's just a time thing. I've had to prioritize work I'm getting paid for.
Absolutely.
Obviously. And so my team has not yet done our tool definition. What we have done, I can just share screen, is basically we've identified the areas where we think hold on, I'm just going the wrong thing, share screen. We've done this spreadsheet, which has the different things that we, in column A, the different elements that we want to use AI for or collaborate with AI on these different aspects of data collection, data analysis, etc. But what we haven't done, as you can see, is put any real tools into this yet. And that's just a function of, I think, all of us being busy. I don't think we're going to need any money. So I know that was the purpose of today's conversation. I just don't think based on that sheet that we're going to need to pay for anything. But we do need to do that tool definition, and I will come back if we find that we need budget.
Okay, that sounds great. I'll craft the budget spreadsheet. I started it, and then I'll just kind of go put in some things so everybody will have a space to drop in if you need funding for it. And then my partnership team will go off and see what we can figure out, and if we need to charge anything for participation versus just getting sponsorships and letting this be free for everyone, we'll figure that part out. Joanna.
Do
So
you know how to
yeah, go
scrub
ahead.
this or review the Slack with AI to find common questions over the last 90 days type thing? I know how to copy and paste, but I think if there's some tool that does that, that might help us with a baseline.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
So
I see a lot of run and show questions and timelines and those type of things. And I definitely think at the end of this, we ought to provide a base one that AI created from our run a show and the other stuff as one of our tools.
So specifically the overall Slack or the AI Hackathon Slack?
Well, I was thinking overall,
Okay.
because that
Yeah.
would
So
give
we
our
have a bot
community.
that sits inside Slack right now that her name is Darlene. And so she can pull this information and we can go find trends and things like that. So if you want to give me the prompts that you would like to find out, then we can run that through Darlene.
Yeah. And maybe Dex can brainstorm on that too, but the first ones were common questions. This is the
I
first one I
mean,
started with.
we're gonna do proper formal questions to put into the Slack. And so hopefully we'll get the insights that you're looking for from
Yeah.
that.
But that
But it
might
would be
lead you in a
interesting.
direction.
It would be interesting to have Darlene, is it,
Yes.
do an overall analysis of AI questions and topics that have come up in the Slack over the last 4 months. I mean, that would be interesting just to extract what has come up organically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can definitely just ask it trends, but if you guys want to come up with prompt specific questions, then
Mhm.
we can go in and ask.
Great.
Amazing. Joanna, I know that you're just following along at this point, trying to see things. Is everybody putting all of the notes from the meetings you're having into the Google Drive? Okay. So Joanna, I wondered if I could ask you to start gathering some of those notes and running them through some sort of tool,
Yeah.
GPT, anything, and start doing just a summary of everybody's notes.
Yeah. So that was the plan for our team. We're going to divide and conquer, and just every week, I don't know, we haven't determined what day of the week we'll do it, but it's probably going to be on Thursday or Friday. So we meet as a team on Monday morning. And every week we will do a summary. We'll come back with some kind of summary for you guys. And if there's any special requests, please let me know. Currently, we're using Chat GPT and Copilot. So if there's a request to use a different tool, we're happy to do those. Those are just the tools that we use on a daily, so we know them. And we thought we could compare, what the results are between them as well.
So my question is, because Anka, I see all of your Notebook LM stuff and I've still never used it. Is it an opportunity to go link all of those notes in a Notebook LM and have it do something?
Yeah. So Notebook LM has the opportunity to link to Drive and also OneDrive and a bunch of other places, or just upload documents as they are, like it's a Google spreadsheet or it's something of that nature, PDFs and whatnot. I don't think it does Word documents. I think you need to actually extract it from, say, Google Drive as a PDF, and then you upload it, and then you can upload 300 of those sources. So if you want to go through like 300 of conversations, you can certainly do so. And then what's cool about the new feature of Notebook LM, it can do a video roll, like an overview with B-roll and like talking about what was discussed. That could be even a highlight, like a highlight reel, if
Yeah,
you
and we
want
can
to
throw that on
engage
the
it as
AI social
additional
channel.
resource. Yeah. I think the hardest part right now is for you, Joanna, like making sure you track all of those meetings. Like I have been religiously updating and putting those docs up there. But then are we talking about internal meetings for on each department, or just the main meeting notes, right? Like,
Yeah, all of it.
because that's something to establish, because then if you only have those main meeting notes, you're not really getting the entire overview of all
No,
the
we're
meeting.
doing
So
we're
we might
doing
have to make a
every
request for the teams, make sure you record your meeting and upload the notes so we have this insight into what's going on.
Mhm. Yeah, and that was I think that's a reoccurring theme is everybody please record your weekly meetings because they will be leveraged significantly. So yeah, to answer your question, Anka, we will be summarizing every core team's meetings
So then making sure you have
and
access
the
to
larger
that.
meeting.
Yeah.
Right. And if you just get video, you can put it in YouTube and pull the transcript? I have to
You
copy
can
and
do that.
paste it
Even
unless
like
someone knows
Google
like
Drive gives you transcripts for free. Like literally, if you're on a video on Google Drive, all you have to do is to captions, manage your captions, and download the transcript
Meaning you load the video?
for free.
It's
Yeah,
really?
if you have videos, like for example, I would have some recordings of, I think I uploaded some video recording of something, like we have the kickoff on July. I see a video that you downloaded, Liz. Like if you go on the three dots over there on the file and then go to file information and then manage caption tracks, if there's audio attached to it, which you should, you can actually generate that as a VTT file,
Well,
which is the
that's way
caption.
better than blowing Descript credits. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and if you go to
That's
YouTube,
that's
it'll generate
awesome.
it for you too.
Okay.
So like you and Nicole did an interview on event planning 2 months ago. So I went and pulled this transcript of that and made a summary through chat.
But does
Oh.
it have to be on YouTube to do that?
No, you can just, Annika was just saying you can do it in Google Drive too.
Let me share.
You have
Yeah,
the
let me share
video.
this really quick to show you.
It's just
And also
I
just
can't download someone else's video, so I have to go pull their transcript
Yeah.
off of YouTube. And that's why YouTube transcripts almost everything.
Yeah.
And if you
So I
don't
used
know
to
how
pay
to
for
do
a
that,
tool to
maybe some of
transcribe
the
my
transcript
YouTubes
is.
because I was, I mean, I don't have time to watch all YouTubes. It's great to get the key takeaways. But like if you have a video in your Drive, and I'm not sure if OneDrive does that, Joanne, to go back to your question, but Google Drive does it. So like you just go to the three dots and then you go to the file information and then you have manage
okay.
caption tracks. And this will take a minute to, I think, to make sure that, did you just upload this recently? Oh, no. But you would have the option here to actually get the tracks. I'm not sure why I don't see it here, but let me see if I can have another video.
Does
That
everyone know
has-
how to get the transcript off YouTube?
No, you can show us that in just a second too.
Yeah, and does Notebook LM cost money?
I have it under my Google. So see here, Liz, like you go here, it's English obviously detected, and then you just
Oh, and
download.
you just download it. Okay,
Yeah,
very cool.
exactly. To your question, I have it under my Google normal personal account. I don't pay for
Okay.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll go check it out.
Well, and Liz, that's what you and I were talking about. Instead of me doing the Notebook LM, it does make more sense for Joanna to be doing it. And using the Club EG Gmail account.
Yeah.
to the Jefferson
Joanna.
Visitor Park.
And I do know it has a paid portion, and I like the idea of the paid portion. It just depends, to Anka's point, depends on what version of Google.
So it looks like I
You can
have
use
a
papers.
pro.
Approve it.
So I'm not sure what that means if my usage of it is pro account. I don't remember ever paying, to be honest. This is one thing that I don't
You're just
remember
like
paying
passing
for.
out money to all these
But then
AI.
it
One of our
might be
secret-
under my
Yeah, it's under
Google
your
A1
Google
membership.
AI.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So if whatever Google system that we use for the
Yeah.
Notebook LM, it
Like
does
looks
have to
like it's
do-
coming with a few of those tools here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Joanna, if you go explore that, I can give you the login to the Club Ichi Gmail account. And then
Okay.
if we need to pay $125 a month for a couple of months, we can do that.
Okay.
Pete, will you screen share and show
Yeah. So
transcript
you just
on-
put any video in, there's always that little bit of show more down here by the wording. And then you can do show transcript and it'll pop up here on the side. So you can search it too. So then like if you wanted, it's a cooking show, you could actually just search where the souffle is or the bot temperature or whatever else is. And it'll jump down to that timeline. And if you click that timeline, it'll jump to that part of it. But you can also just copy and paste it. I always have to go to the bottom. And then you just copy it, paste it into any document or straight into Chat GTP. And then I don't like the way it messes up my Chat GTP, so I put it in a document. And then you can just do a whole summary of it
Nice.
and redo it in those pieces.
I will say, Pete, I'm too lazy to do all of that. So for me, it's like if there's easier ways to do it,
Well, I
like without me having to click through the whole transcript, I'm like, yes, press one button, get it done.
Well, I spent some time yesterday seeing if any of them actually will scrape the transcript for
You
me.
didn't?
It didn't. But on your own videos, if you just load them up private, so they're not public, it'll still generate the transcript for you
Got it.
that you can scrape out of it.
Very
But
cool.
the Google Drive one's good too. It's a wash.
Okay.
It's whatever
All right.
tool
Well,
you
I
use.
know our time is up for this week. This was a really, really great forward-moving conversation. I think we should pick it up in the Slack channel and determine if we want to take the platform and make it the evergreen platform. And then if we do, what do we want to use for the actual event on the 24th of September? And I mean, we could simply just live stream it to YouTube and, have us vmix it in through Zoom and all that fun stuff. And then we can do whatever we want with the fun, crazy bringing AI things and video into it.
Yeah. But I think there's also this question, are we sticking to that date to be our deadline? Are we talking about that really being the event date, or do we need to give ourselves a little bit more runway?
I'm open, but I will say I think the pressure of making it happen makes it a little bit more fun. And it's okay if we have to cut things because we're prioritizing and can't get it done by that time.
Yeah. I mean, it would have to happen before IMAX, because once IMAX gets,
Exactly.
it's gonna be a
That's
nightmare.
exactly my thought. So, Sarah Beth, I think why don't you and I get together and talk through that content again? Once Dax sends the survey out on Friday, we'll try to get people's survey responses in. Monday and Tuesday, we can review them. Tuesday on this meeting, or when is next Wednesday? So you and I can review them next Tuesday. We'll get together with the group on Wednesday and come up with that type of plan. And then Anka, you and I can offline a little bit too around platform versus however we want to produce it otherwise. But I really like this plan. I think it gives us some legs and some opportunities to try new tools and be dependent on tools we understand. Cool. Thanks, everybody. Continues to be an adventure. Y'all are amazing and you inspire me every single week. And I learned 42 things today. So thank you. And we'll talk every 5 minutes. Thanks, team. Keep going. Brain behind the bots.